Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't smashed that subscribe button, go ahead and smash it right now. I'm going to drop a twofer for you guys today. Why not? Sometimes I drink extra coffee and it just keeps me going. All right, if you haven't purchased a Warriors in the Garden shirt, go ahead and check out that link in the more section underneath. All right, support the cause. This episode right here is going to be about how to spot a lame. All right. The majority of you guys watch this channel because you want to know what it's like on Greenside, what we think like, what we move like, right? What goes on, man? What goes behind those closed doors? Like, what do you guys talk about? All right, how do you operate? As I've told you guys before, when people do background checks on one another in the department, Green, we'll give each other a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's it. There is no in between, right? There, you don't in between it this way or in between it that way. You're either good or you're not good. A lame, right? A lame by all definitions. Same thing as the street code, right? The G code. A lame is a lame, no matter which way you cut it, slice it, dice it, or chop it up. What can be some examples of one? Okay. They're kind of usually easily to spot, right? And these people will like boast, will like brag, will definitely talk about it. They're good at talking about it, but not being about it, all right? And there's certain situations where their true colors will show. And that doesn't prevent them from like slowing down or pumping the brakes. They'll just keep going and going, right? They'll just talk themselves into oblivion. But other people recognize it. We recognize it, right? You kind of tend to distance yourself from people like that. Now, you don't have to be a solid dude, right? You don't have to be a solid individual. There's different personalities. There's different traits. There's different, like, hey, not everybody is going to be at the tip of the spear. Not everybody's going to be a soldier, so to say, right? When it kicks off and cracking, not everybody's going to have that mindset of, hey, get in there, get in the mix, right? Start handling your business, helping out your partners, right? Fighting for your life, for survival. There's and common human traits, like, hey, there could be people that are scared, there could be people that maybe try to avoid it, right? But that's different, right? That's different. A lame is one that, like, man, be putting their 2 cents in when it's unwarranted, right? Like, they'll probably talk that they're about it, they'll probably boast that they're about it, but hey, working in a prison, you get your opportunities, right? There's violence. It's a violent encounter, especially in the California Department of Corrections, right? Probably the most, if not the most violent prison system in the United States. So, a riot, a simple riot, well, they're never simple, but a riot, a staff assault, inmates murdering each other, attempted murders, like, when you're in the mix, you tend to, like, you're not blind. You always see the same people that are right next to you, right? And that's why I give a shout out to all the youngsters that I always saw right there, right? Because it was kind of always the same dudes, always, and females, right? The ones that were there. But then there's those ones that you never did see there, man. You never did. Were they around? I don't know. Were they luck of the draw? Did it not kick off on their watch? I don't know. But the thing is, like, hey, people talk, right? People talk, we talk. So there's times where you can be like, hey, that person's over there solid. This happened, blah, blah, blah. They acted like this, blah, 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 right? They came through with it. But the other type, you never hear those type of stories, right? They don't have that backing. They don't have that reputation, but boy, do they like to talk, right? They're like, it's almost like a Hollywood, like a drama, like a show, right? Like all show and no go, but so their word doesn't hold no value, right? It doesn't hold value. Like, I'm not going to say they're on disregard status, right? But for those of you guys know what disregard, but in reality, that's truly what it is. You're being disregarded, right? Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm keeping it real with you guys. Like, they love drama. They love to stir the pot, right? Don't get me wrong. As a lieutenant that was well versed in policy and procedure, going up against an administration that I saw as corrupt, I love to stir the pot too. I love to stir the pot, but I had that prior like homework, right? I had those notes. I had that mindset. And I never struck first, right? I never struck first. It's like, all right, they're going to get at me crazy. Here you go. Just understand what you're getting. Like, I'm not the one, right? And I hate to talk like that or use those type of terminology, but in reality, like, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. So if a lame wanted to give their 2 cents on a matter, disregarded, right? Disregarded by the real ones. Disregarded like, whatever. Dude's just talking. That person's just talking. The funny and crazy thing is that, like, I told you guys the department is small. I told you this. The world is small. I'm starting to see that more and more now. And I kind of knew it back then. You could have come from violent prisons, man. Calipat, Corcoran, Salinas Valley, High Desert, Pelican Bay, right? Not to take away from the violence of any other prison, but you could have came from those heavy hitter prisons. Tehachapi. But when you come and you touch down, you don't even gotta say or do anything to know, for a person to know that when you were over there, you weren't doing anything. You weren't about anything, right? But then they want to come and bark, right? Like selling wolf tickets, like, hey, knock it off. You're not fooling anybody, man. So, like, that's the definition of a lame, right? It's just like, man, they love to give their 2 cents on a matter that they've never really operated on, man. That's another thing I'm huge on. I'm not really going to speak on subjects that I know nothing about, because I would just sound dumb. On top of that, I'm not going to speak on subjects that I have no business speaking on, right? And I think you've probably gathered that by now. But this lame won't hesitate, man. These lames won't hesitate to, you know, when they truly show themselves, man. And I've been reflecting, was like, I made a video on the COVID. If you go back on my channel, like, there was a lot of mandates. There was a lot of that corrupt administration, right? Pollard and his cronies, right? That was allowed to get away by headquarters in Sacramento. Fear was there. Fear, that fear. This is when you see the lames. This is when you see their true colors. That fear of getting in trouble, that fear of getting fired, that fear of getting put under investigation over frivolous, fake investigations. These lames will buckle. They will buckle. It's kind of funny that I'm saying the word buckle, but for those that know, you know, they will buckle under the pressure. They will show their true colors under the pressure, right? I told you guys about that buffoon that wrote me up. That was a homie prior. Like, hey, you don't have to do that. Like, just stand your ground, man. Take a hit. Take a hit once in a while, man. I guess that's what we're asking. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Is like, hey, no matter in life in general, you're gonna take a hit. You're gonna take a hit, man. It all depends on how far you're willing to stand up for yourself, right? Talk about backbone, spine, but don't give off this persona. Don't give off this like personality that you're with it, right? When you're not. You're absolutely not. It's obvious. It's been shown. It's been proven. I know you guys can relate. I know you guys can. But I'm just telling you green side. That's how we think too. We're human. I told you this. Like, aside from being human, we're constantly being tested. We're being tested, right? And under the test is when people show their true colors. In the military, I didn't so much experience like lames because you weren't allowed to be a lame. You weren't allowed. We were going to handle it. You were going to get dealt with, right? So you had to conform. You had to conform to handling your business. You had to conform to um, being with it, right? God forbid you didn't hold your word then, right? God, God forbid you showed cowardism, right? Or like it just there's rules in the military, man, for like desertion. Desertion is punishable by death, and they used to tell us that when going up to Iraq. Like, if you're thinking about deserting, just know that we can shoot you in the back as you're running away. That's what they told us. Desertion, right? So, message for today: don't be a lame, right? You're not fooling anybody. You're not tricking anybody. Your opinion is unwarranted in matters that you have no business speaking on, right? Unless you got that resume, wow. Unless you got that resume to back it up or that spinal cord to back it up, just stay in your lane, mind your own P's and Q's, don't bother nobody, don't, right? You'll get yourself in a jam, you'll get yourself in a wreck. Keep pushing forward.